Hey, it's Rebecca, and I want to welcome you to the Sunday edition of Fear, Fat, and Freedom from It All. This has some unique techniques. Some I learned I'm going to show you a picture. Ain't he hot? Well, kind of, sort of. Yeah. Raymond Grace, who is a dowsing master. And so I'll be introduced some of the techniques I learned from him from reading his books, and you can too, and just being guided by spirit. So just briefly, what happened to me was I used to be over 200 pounds and couldn't do anything to get it off. It was emotional. And I know people say just eat less and move more. And normally that would be very good advice. But when you have a real emotional need going on, you can eat less and move more. And you might get rid of a little bit. It's going to probably come back. So, what happened to me is I was in a very unhappy marriage situation. And I needed that extra weight to protect myself from all the screaming. So even though I did Weight Watchers, I did this, I did that, I hired a personal trainer. Money was not an object in my life at that time. So when I made the decision to get divorced, didn't start the paperwork, made the decision, oh my goodness, of course I did something. And it just worked like crazy. And that's about 11 years ago. And I've never put more than 2 or 3 pounds back on. Because why? Because I have to watch it. It is important. Like Raymond Gray says, I love this. You don't just take a bath once every 5 years or once in your lifetime and expect to stay clean. So you do clearings often. So recently, my house that I love by the sea, because I love living by the ocean, was diagnosed with terrible mold. And I was advised to vacate immediately, don't take hardly anything, nothing that can't be cleaned. So within a space of 2 weeks, I had this house full of furniture, beautiful everything, and I had almost nothing. I took my books, I took my clothes, I could wash those. Um, so I thought, I'm fine. I'm free as a bird. I have no possessions. I even wrote um, email about it. I have no possessions. Yee-hee. And I was fine with it mentally. And I started noticing every time I step on the scale, which I recommend you do it often too, only one time, and that's early in the morning when you first get up, you pee, you get naked, and you weigh yourself. That's the only time. Later on in the day, you could be up 5 or 6 pounds. Ounces were going up, up, up. And I wasn't doing anything real different with my eating. And I wasn't feeling like, oh, I'm losing, I have to eat a lot of food. No. And when I made a vow not to ever let it touch 150, because then it's like 155, 160, 165, 170. And that morning that it was 150.9. I'm like, what the H? Oh, and I had tried keto. Oh, not for me. I did it perfect. And more ounces, more ounces. And when I finally asked Spirit, what? And I was told that my body was hoarding, like, oh my God, what else is she going to give away? She's going to be giving away an arm or a leg soon. Then I cleared that, and the grief over not just the losses of giving away all my possessions, which mentally I didn't feel any grief. My body will your body will let you know what's going on no matter what you think in your brain. So I cleared all those, and the scale started going down ounces by ounces, not crazy. I didn't let it get way out of hand. When I saw that 150.9, I'm like, oh my God. My normal set point is 142 to 143. I can stay there and just normally be kind of careful, but not crazy careful. I can drink wine, I can have dessert every now and then, be normal. So it was when I met after that, it started going down and I had the guidance. Well, meet your inner slimmer. And not only just meet her, but merge your metabolism with hers and take it back in time. Take it back to when you had a healthier, more youthful metabolism. And what I didn't say when I first wrote that letter is when I first met her, she was all blackened and crackled, not black as in a black person's skin color, but necrotic, like this, with cracks all in her face and her body. And I didn't understand what it meant, because when I went to meet her and she was having this on, I'm like, I'm not sure I want to merge with that. And then she whisked it off just like an apron, and her skin was baby pink. By the way, look at my skin. Yesterday, when I did the increased blood flow exercise, I started getting red as a beet. And when I woke up this morning, my skin was just glowing and I have hardly any makeup on. So we're going to do all that for you today. So let's talk a little bit about the necrotic tissue and why it's so important that we address that. So what she wanted me to know is something I had read about. See, I like to give credit where I find out something. In this book about how tissues can lose the desire to live. And like if you have a lot of pain in one part of your body, it very likely can be that that part of your body has lost its desire to live. What happens then? It starts squeezing off the blood supply. Have you ever seen a person, usually with diabetes, below the knee to the ankle is usually, it gets blacker and blacker and blacker. My former husband, the screamer, who actually doesn't scream anymore, however, his legs have gotten darker and darker. They were just spotty brown when we met. Now I saw him a few days ago, and his legs are almost as black and all cracked, just like the vision I saw. So that is why we're going to search out in your body any tissues that could be losing their desire to live. Not only can your tissues lose their desire to live, I'm sorry to say that your spirit can become so discouraged, or maybe it's your inner child, whatever it is, it can become so discouraged that it loses a desire to live. And that I almost tear up, because as I confessed yesterday, there have been times in my life when I felt like the going is so hard, it would just be totally okay with me if Spirit just took me home. And I have even said, well, God, are you finished with me? Because this is not fun and I'm just fine going to the other side. So, having said that, we want to begin with the clearings. Hang on. Oh, by the way, this is where I live now. This is my bed, my books. This is my possessions. My chair where I meditate. my double monitor computer system. So I do want to just have us tap for our polarities to balance and do a couple things before we start with the scan. I did ask you to have pen and paper. So let's start with tapping for polarity balance. Okay, so tap on the side of your hand and repeat after me. Polarities come into balance. Polarities come into balance. Polarities come into balance. I'm two-fisted today. Polarities come into balance. Release fear of revelation. That's for somebody who's afraid something's going to come out about you. That's fine. Balance polarities. Balance polarities. Balance polarities. Balance polarities. Balance polarities. And I have found that a big woohoo is always very helpful. So next, what we want to do is have a spirit guide powwow. Now, a friend of Raymond, a Canadian healer, had told him that she discovered that if the spirit guides don't get along with each other, like the healer is working on someone and the spirit guide doesn't really get along with your spirit guide, they're not going to get any results. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with us here today. Yes, it does. It is something we can easily clear. And first of all, let me tell you how this could be. Well, let me go from another angle. You know that all spirit guides had a physical lifetime. Some may have only had one. Sylvia Browne's spirit guide just had one lifetime and she did not like it. Now, if you don't believe spirit guides have an opinion and can have an agenda, just read some of the books of Sylvia Browne. Her spirit guide was a sassy little thing and definitely had an opinion. So most of the time they asked to be assigned to you because they saw something in you that they wanted to help develop, or they knew you had a capacity to do some work in the world. Maybe it was some work they wish they had done. And so they asked to be assigned to you to help you. They had a physical lifetime. They met other people. It's very possible that everything was not resolved. Maybe they were at loggerheads with another person. And that person could be my spirit guide. Woo! Or spirit guides. I have several. You probably do too. Usually one main one. So to make this all in harmony, we're going to just call a powwow of all these spirit guides, and we're going to ask divine forgiveness to flow. So, you know how in some churches they say, turn to the next person and give the sign of peace. So I'm turning to my spirit guide. Will you help us? Will you help us? You ask yours, will you help us? Can we work together? And then I'm going to use my dowsing pendulum. Let me tell you how I use my pendulum. I don't use it to get yes and no answers because I'm intuitive and I usually already know. Some people do that. Some people douse for everything. That's okay. I use it like a shaman would use an eagle feather, and that's to cut through the crap. And when I tell little tornado to clear, she's gonna clear. When I tell little tornado to bring in energy, she does it. It's simply a sign the work is being done for me. Now, that's not exactly how Raymond Grace says to do it. I haven't been to his actual classes. I have to follow my guidance, and I suggest you follow your guidance. Another thing different about my dowsing, I tell the pendulum first, I don't say show me yes and show me no, because I want something I can remember. So I tell the pendulum, oh, should we give a name to our pendulum? Why not? If you feel like it, give it a good name. Name of service. I like the thought of a tornado just whirling around and cutting through the energy. So I use it to cut and clear and bring in energy. And sometimes I'll wait till I get a yes. Let me finish my thought. I told it, look, I want my yes to be a back and forth. And I want my no to be a side to side, like you're shaking your head. When I'm asking you to clear, I want you to go counterclockwise. And when I see it going back to yes, and when I want you to bring in good energy, I want you to go clockwise. That is the signs that Raymond Grace uses. I did touch my pendulum to his, which you can touch it to mine if you'd like, and synchronize. It's not necessary to do that, but it's fun. Let's do fun things. So, any non-beneficial energies, wait, let me do clearing. Non-beneficial energies or disagreements among our spirit guides collectively dissolve and neutralize. We ask the spirit of divine forgiveness, yes, divine forgiveness to come and be in place with all our spirit guides. And now we imagine that they're forming a circle all around us and they're holding hands. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Okay, maybe they're not singing, but maybe they are. And they're holding space. Now we are all over the world, okay? And the spirit can reach everywhere. And so the spirit is reaching everywhere to bond us together. And you know why? My spirit guide wants to help your spirit guide help you heal. And let's just pass that around the circle. That thought of we are one, we are in unity, and so it is. So it is. Okay, so one other thing I want to clear for today. I didn't know it was almost Mercury retrograde. Did you guys? Until one of my astrological astrological friends yesterday, she had a hard time getting on. And she's all tech savvy. And she said, oh, I forgot it's almost Mercury. Sometimes it does. Well, what we want to do is neutralize that cotton picking. Oh, it's saying yes. I didn't ask you. Neutralize all negative astrological influences on us today. This is something you could do daily, and it's really easy. I'm going to put that in the shorty little things for you. Why is it a good idea to do it daily? Well, it's real quick. And if you don't have a pendulum, let me find my homemade one. Let me see if I have it here. I just tied, I don't see it. I just tied some nuts on the end of a shoestring. Anything with weight that will, let me show you something else I used. That is a necklace. A necklace has weight. This is a raw ruby, by the way. Really good for the heart. As a matter of fact, you want to help us? She's already been blessed and dedicated. So she's going to help us clear, and just go in negative counterclockwise, clearing all negative astrological influences from each and every person on this event, whether you're listening right now, watching 10 years from now, the energy stays in my recordings forever. So clearing all negative astrological influences from you. Let's clear them from your spouse if you have one. We're including a partner if you have one. Your pets if you have them. Any negative astrological influences on your location. There can be noxious energy rays. Clearing all those and getting yes, yes. Now bringing in positive astrological influences. You know, Saturn is not all a bad guy. We're scared of him, and yet he's the judge of what is right and good as well. So we're receiving the blessings of the planets, the stars, the universes, receiving it. Intensify this with my friend Brihaspati. He was the god who taught the gods, Brihaspati. I was born under his sign. He invites you to always question. That's probably why I've always questioned. So we're clearing, and cleared. Boom! Okay. You don't have to make the noises with me. Okay, my face is getting redder by the minute. All right, I haven't even done the circulation exercise. Well, actually, I do it every morning now, which I'll teach it to you because it wakes up your brain so much. I did it to my daughter, like now she wants me to do it every day because she's in high gear. She's cleaning out closets. And the sweet thing I love, she's a blonde, she's beautiful. And the second day I did it, and I said, have you noticed anything different? She said, yes. My vocabulary is just, I can remember all the words, and all my life I felt stupid, which broke my heart. Now I feel smart, and she is smart. She's the only one of my kids that is working on her master's. Okay. Of course, smartness comes in all kind of ways. So what I'm going to do now is stop this recording so that you can have this in nice little segments. So one moment.